Hello guys, it's called Duchess. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We start off by saying Shape Asterisk, which will open the full HTML setup. In my body I'll have a header tag which has a div. The div has a class of site header. It also has a logo with a class of logo, and I'm just gonna say workshop. Afterwards we have our nav tag, which we'll name main nav. In the main nav we're gonna have an unordered list with a class of nav list. We're also gonna have a list tag with an ahref, and we're gonna duplicate this 3 times. The first one is gonna be about. The second, services. The third, portfolio. And the fourth, contacts. I'm quickly going to fill in their corresponding links. We're gonna give them a class of navlink. So we're done with our main nav. We're quickly gonna open it on our browser. I'll be doing that by clicking the go live button, which is coming from the live server extension. So I'm just gonna say go live, which is starting the development server. So in our browser we could see the logo and the nav links. So let's start them. I'll head over to my CSS, and first of all I'm going to target all. I'm going to say padding 0, margin 0, box sizing border box. I'll also have a root element that's going to house all the colors we're going to be using in this tutorial. You can get the root element from the completed project on GitHub. You can also get the images as well. The link is in the description box on how to get this exact images on my GitHub. I will also link my CSS to my HTML. So I'll start by starting my navigation. I'm going to quickly grab the site header. I'm going to set position fixed, top 0, weight 100%, background color will be transparent, set index of 2, display flags, justify content space between, align item center, you're also going to give it a pattern. (15px) to the top and bottom, 80px to the left and right. And lastly, we're gonna give it a general color of light gray. We're also gonna target this logo and give it a font size of 35 pixels. Afterward, we're gonna head over here and grab this nav list. I'm gonna say display flex. You're also gonna give it a gap 20 pixels. So it's display flex with a gap of 20 pixels. You're also gonna target the nav list li and say list style none. We're also gonna grab this nav link as well. Text decoration none. And also give it the same color of light gray. We want to add a hover effect to this nav link, so we're just gonna say nav link. So we're gonna give it a color of orange. We are done styling this site header. I'm gonna create a hero section and say main. Main is gonna have a class of hero section. It's also gonna have a container div called overlay. In the overlay, we're gonna have another div. We'll call it hero content. Gonna have a h1. We're also gonna have a p tag with lorem 20. We would have a button. Find out more. We're also gonna have a class of btn and btn orange. BTN stands for button. We head over to our browser and view it. Afterwards, we're gonna head over to our CSS. First of all, we're gonna grab this hero section. Head over to our CSS. In our CSS, we're gonna give this a position of relative. We're also gonna say display flex. We're gonna say justify content center to take this whole items to the center. We're also gonna say align item center. We give this a width of 100% and a height of 100 ph. That way the content is going to go to the middle of the browser. We're also going to give it a background image. I'm going to use this PG masthead. Going to give this a background position of center. Background size of color. Background of repeat is going to be no repeat. And then set index of 1. Now the image is in the center of the browser. Then we're going to style the overlay. You want to give this a background color that would be overlaid on the background image. So first off, we'll say position is going to be absolute, top 0, left 0, weight 100%, height 100%. I'm gonna give this a background color, and in this case we want to make use of this color. So we're just gonna see for our hero overlay. We're just going to quickly cut the styling from here and apply it here. There you go. Afterwards, we want to be styling the hero content. So we grab this from here. I'm gonna give this a width of 50%. And we're gonna say text align center. We're also gonna be styling the hero content heading, which is the H1. It's gonna have a font size of 55 pixels and a color of white. Then we're gonna head over to style the hero content paragraph. Give this a font size of 16 pixels, a color of gray, you're gonna give this a margin of 30 pixels and 0. We then want to style this general button, which is a btn. We head over here and say btn. It's going to have a padding of 20 pixels and 40 pixels. Border radius of 40 pixels. A border of none. And a width of 200 pixels. We also want it to have a font weight of 600 pixels. Then afterwards we want to style this orange btn. We're gonna give this a background color of orange. And a color of white. Head over to our HTML, close this up, and now we want to create an about section. It's going to have an ID of about. And a class of about. You're also gonna have a div with a class of about content. You're gonna have a h1. You need. Then we're gonna have a dummy paragraph. We're saying lorem 20. We're also gonna have a button beneath with a class of btn and another class of btn white. In here we'll say get started. I'm gonna grab this about, head over to our CSS. We're gonna give this a background color of orange. We're also going to give this a height of 400 pixels, Gonna give this a text align center and align content center. We head over to about container. Patron. And we're just gonna say font size 35 pixels. And the color is gonna be white. Gonna target it about content paragraph. Gonna give it a color of light gray. Width of 50%. And a margin of 30 pixels. 0. I'm gonna change this to auto. There. We want to target the white button. Gives us a background color of white. And a color of black. We also want to give this a hover property. Gives us a background color of orange. And a color of white. Let's quickly change this to black. Better. Now we head over to our HTML and close the section. We're gonna have another section which is gonna call service section. In this section we're gonna have a section with the ID called services and a class called services. We're gonna have a heading which says at your service. Then we're gonna have a div with a class called service grid. In this div, we're gonna have a div which is gonna call service item. In here, we're gonna have an I class. We're also gonna have a H2. With a P tag of lorem 10. Now we're gonna head over to font also. We're gonna search for HTML. You're just gonna grab this first icon over here. So we're gonna click here to copy and replace our I tag with it. Then we're gonna head over back to our browser and search for Font Awesome CDN. We're gonna copy this first one and go over to our head tag. We'll say link and paste it. Then we're gonna go over to our browser and view the icon. So the icon is visible over here. Then we're gonna duplicate this 3 times. For the second heading, we're gonna say up to date. Then we're gonna head over back to Fonts Awesome and search for clock. Copy and replace. Then over here, we're gonna say ready to watch. Come over here, laptop, and replace. Then lastly, we're gonna say made with love. We head over back to Font Awesome and search for a heart. Copy and replace. We're gonna view it in our browser. There you go. As you can see, they're all visible. Now we want to style this section. I will head over to our CSS. We head over to our HTML and grab this class called services. We want to say text align should be center. Padding should be 100 pixels, 50 pixels. Then we want to say services, H1. Font size 35 pixels. Margin bottom 50 pixels. Font width 600. And color heading text. There you go. At the margin bottom of 50 pixels and font size of 35 pixels. We also want to style the service grid, so we're just gonna copy this up and say service grid. I want to give it a display flex. Justify content, space between, align item center. Okay. We also want to target the service item. Give it a width of 20%. Lovely. So we want to style the I tag, so we just say service item I. Give it a color of orange and a font size of 40 pixels. Beautiful. We're also going to be styling this service item H2. Give it a color of heading text. Font size of 25 pixels. Font weight of 500. Margin should be 10 pixels and 0. Beautiful. Then we want to be styling the service item P tag. I'm just gonna give it a color of gray. We're done with the service section. I'm just gonna close this up. We want to give this a JavaScript styling that will change the navbar background to white when scrolled. So I'm just gonna head over here and say scripts.js. In our body, we're just gonna have a script tag and link our scripts.js. In our scripts.js, we're gonna say document that add event listener. DOM content loaded. You're still gonna have a function. Then gonna have a constant of navbar, which is equals to document dot query selector. So this query selector is going to select a class of site header. So we're just gonna grab this from the HTML and say dot site header. Then we're gonna be checking for the window. We're gonna say add event listener. I'm just gonna listen for a scroll. If the window is scrolled, it's going to fire a function. So we're gonna say if window dot scroll on the y-axis is greater than 50. It's going to say navbar, this navbar over here, dot class list dot add a new styling, which is going to be scrolled, else navbar dot class list dot remove the styling. So what this saying is, once this window is scrolled, it's going to add a new class called scrolled. If this window is not scrolled, it's going to remove the class. So we are going to add this new class to our CSS. We're going to add it to the site header. So we head over to our CSS and say that site header dot scrolled, which is this new class we're adding. I'm gonna give this a background color of white and a color black. So you could see once it's scrolled, it changes the background color and the color for the logo. Now we're gonna create another section in our HTML. It's gonna be called portfolio section. So in this section, it's going to have an ID of portfolio and a class of portfolio. They're going to have an image and a class portfolio image. So this image is going to be gotten from our image folder. And we're going to duplicate this 5 times. Going to change this to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Create in the browser. Head over to our CSS. Going to set that portfolio. I'm going to give this a width of 100%. We also want to give it a display flex and a flex wrap of wrap. We're also going to be targeting this portfolio image. We're going to give this a width 33.33%. There you go. You're done styling this section. Head over back to our HTML. You're gonna have a CTA section. This is gonna have an ID. So it's gonna have a class of CTA section. In here it's gonna have a div. It's gonna have a h1 of precurses on my YouTube channel. It's also gonna have a button of get started. The button is gonna have a class of btn white. Head over to our CSS. Background color of orange. Height of 350 pixels. Text align is center. Align content is center as well. And a color of white. There you go. So we also want to be styling the CTA section. Each one. We want to give this a font size of 30 pixels, a font weight of 500, and a margin bottom of 20 pixels. Beautiful. We head over to our HTML. We want to have our contact section. This is gonna have an ID, a contact, also a class of contact as well. It's gonna have a div with an H1. Let's get in touch. It's also gonna have a P with a lorem 20. We're gonna have a form beneath the P tag, which has a class of contacts form. It's gonna have an input with a placeholder, and a class of form input. I'm going to duplicate this twice. In this placeholder, I'm going to say full name. Here I'm going to change this to email, and here I'm going to say email address. Here's going to be number, and I'm going to say phone number. Lastly, we're gonna have the text area. It's gonna have a placeholder of message and a class of form text area. Lastly, we're gonna have a button with a class of btn orange, and we're just gonna say submit. So we could see our form over here. We head over to the CSS. We're gonna say contacts. I want to change this to contact section. More formal. And here I'm gonna say contact section. So in my contact section, I'm gonna give it a padding of 100 pixels and a text align of center. I'm gonna say contact section H1. I'm gonna set font size of 35 pixels. Color of header text. Margin bottom of 10 pixels. I'm also going to be targeting the contact section paragraph. Here I'm going to set color gray. Width is going to be 50%. And margin is going to be auto. Then I want to be styling the contact form, so I'm just going to grab it over here. I'm just going to say display flex direction should be column. I want to give this an align items of center, gap of 10 pixels, and margin top to be 40 pixels. So as you can see, it has a gap of 10 pixels, a margin top of 40 pixels. It's in flex, but it's displayed in column format. I also want to be targeting the form input and the text area as well. Come on. Form text area. You want to give this a border, 1 pixels, solid, gray. So I want to give this a width of 40%, pattern of 20 pixels, border radius of 10 pixels, outline will be long. Beautiful. Now lastly, for this HTML, we're going to create a footer. I'm just going to close this up and say footer. So I'm going to have a footer with a class of site footer. In the footer, I'm going to have a div with a p tag in it. And I'm just going to say copyright. And copy. And then I'm going to just say code. I'm just going to click copy this. I want to give this a background color. A footer BG. I also want to give this a text align to the center. Color should be heading text, and padding should be 50 pixels. Beautiful. So at this point, we're done coding the HTML. Now I want to add a hamburger menu to the header. So I'm just going to go over here, give this a div with a class of menu toggle. In this div, we're going to have an the class of far bars. It's also going to have this property area hidden. Set that to be true. So you can see my bar over here. Quickly gonna click on F12 for the responsive styling, and we're making use of the iPad mini. So So first of all, we want to hide this in the tablet and in the phone view. We want to hide this nav link, and we also want to hide this bars on the desktop view. So we're going to head over to the CSS. Beneath this site footer, we're going to say menu toggle display none. We also want to create a tablet view styling. So I'm going to say media, max width 992 pixels. I'm gonna say menu toggle should be displayed block. I'm also gonna say nav list should be displayed none. So you can see our menu toggle is displayed on our tablet view, but our nav list is not displayed on our tablet view. So I'm quickly going to open my JavaScript. In here, I'm just going to say document .query selector. I'm going to select the class menu toggle, and I'm going to add an event listener to listen for a click event. So it's going to listen. I'm going to fire a function, and in my function I'm just going to say document .query selector again. It's going to select this nav list over here, and I'm gonna say .class list .toggle, and I'm just gonna say menu open. I'm gonna copy this menu open, head over to my CSS, and I'm just gonna say dot menu open. I'm gonna say should be displayed block and mark this as important. So as I click this now, it's open in my menu. So let me just quickly run through this JavaScript code. First of all, I'm going to say document.query selector is selecting the class of menu toggle, which is my bars over here, and it's adding an event listener, which is listening for a click event. So in this case, it's listening if I click my bar, it should fire a function, and what that function does is to select this nav list, which is displaying here. It should select this nav list, and it should toggle a new class, which is menu open, and in this menu open we are displaying it to be block. It should be displayed. So we want to style this nav list in the CSS. We're gonna say flex direction should be column. We also want to give this a position of absolute, a background color of heading text, a color of white. We're going to give it a top of 90%, a weight of 100%, and a left of 0. Let's quickly check it out. There you go. Now we want to add a pattern, 30 pixels and 0. Also, we want to give this a set index of 3. We're also gonna be targeting this list, so we're gonna say .nav list li, and so text align center, and we're gonna give them a margin 10 pixels. So now the text is aligned to the center, and they all have a margin of top and bottom 10 pixels. We also want to reduce the padding in the site header, so we're gonna say site header padding. Set it to 20 pixels, 40 pixels. Beautiful. I'm going to give this a font size of 30 pixels. It's more visible now. Let's start the rest. I want to reduce the logo, so I'm just going to say logo. Give this a font size 20 pixels. Let's just say 25. That's better. We also want to give this a hero section. So hero section. Give this a height 50 viewpoints. It had an initial height of 100. Now I just want to reduce it to 50 viewpoints. We're gonna go for the hero content. We want to increase the width at a rate of 50%. Now we're just going to say rate of 80%. Then we want to say hero content H1. Then we want to say hero content H1. Give it a font size 35 pixels. We want to increase the width of this paragraph, so I'm gonna say about content P and have a width 80%. We also want to change the services, so we're just gonna say that service grade. Text direction is column. Gap between them is 40 pixels. Then we want to increase the weight of the service item, so we're just gonna say service item. Give it a weight of 80%. There you go, it has a weight of 80%. We want to target this portfolio image, and we want to give this a minimum weight of 100%. It had an initial weight of 33.3%, but now we wanted to take the full weight. We also want to target this form input and form text area, so we're just gonna say form input, form text area. Give them a weight of 80%. It looks better. Now we want to style the mobile screen. We're just gonna close this up. We're gonna have this max width of 576 pixels. We want to reduce the padding of the site header. I'm just gonna say site header padding 20 pixels. That's been reduced now. I also want to reduce the menu toggle. I'm gonna say font size of 20 pixels. Better. For the hero content, I want to increase the viewpoint height, so I'm just gonna say height 80 VH. Sorry, I'm gonna change this to section, not content. Better. Then I'm gonna say hero content. Give this a weight of 90%. For the H1, I want to reduce it, so I'm just gonna say hero content H1 font size 28 pixels. Then I want to reduce this heading, this heading, this heading, and this heading. So I'm gonna say dot about content H1 services H1 CTA H1 contact section H1. They're all gonna have a font size of 26 pixels. That look better. I want to reduce this font size, so I'm just gonna say service items H2. I'm gonna give this a font size of 22 pixels. There you go. Then for the content section, it has a padding of 100 pixels and 50 pixels. So I just want to reduce that to 50 instead of 100 and 20 pixels instead of 50. So let's view that. Beautiful. Let's change the font family. I'm gonna head over to Google Fonts. In Google Font, I'm gonna search for Merriweather Sounds. Get font, get embedded code. Copy this quickly and head over to your HTML. In your HTML head, you paste it. You're also going to copy the font family styling for the CSS. Body, paste. There you go. So this is the end of my tutorial. I'm Code Duchess. I would really love if you like my tutorial, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel to help me grow better.